Welcome back. You're watching Viewpoint, shifting focus to Prime Minister Modi's tour of the United States. During a joint press conference with US President Joe Biden, the Prime Minister rejected the reports of attacks on religious minorities and free speech. The Prime Minister asserted that democracy is the spirit of India and flows through the history and our veins. He further said that there is no question of any kind of discrimination in India on grounds of caste or religion, adding that the government follows the constitution, which was formed by the basic values of democracy. The Congress and the other opposition parties slammed the Prime Minister for giving a lackluster response. They have accused the Prime Minister of ignoring a situation in Manipur or pushing a discriminatory agenda via the Uniform Civil Code. In fact, the opposition has also referred to a recent interview of the former US President Barack Obama, where the former president was heard saying and raising concerns about Indian democracy and must also enter into diplomatic conversations, namely the protection of minority rights. Beyond that, time and again, the opposition has taken pot shots at the way Prime Minister spoke, his language, or the manner in which he conducted himself during the visit. Given the power play and the expanding global might of India and its positioning, are the opposition jibes really warranted? And more importantly, are they adequately substantiated? Our focus.
Cheers.
We were strangers in defense cooperation at the turn of the century. Now, the United States has become one of our most important defense partners.
The relationship with India really cross-cuts all sectors, public and private, whether it's economy, science, engineering, emerging tech. So, I mean, there's just an awful lot of cross-pollination here in trade and tech that I just think augurs really, really well for this partnership going forward.
Democracy is one of our sacred and shared values. In the evolution of the democratic spirit, India is the mother of democracy. जब आप डेमोक्रेसी कहते हैं, जब डेमोक्रेसी को स्वीकार करते हैं और जब हम डेमोक्रेसी को लेकर के जीते हैं, तब डिस्क्रिमिनेशन का कोई सवाल ही नहीं उठता है। भारत अपने लिए करता है, हम ग्लोबल इनिशिएटिव भी लेते हैं।
प्रधानमंत्री अमेरिका में कहते हैं कि डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं होता है, तो फिर मणिपुर में 300 चर्चेस को जला दिया गया। बताइए क्या है? डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं तो क्या है?
Well, joining us on the panel tonight is Mr. Tuhin, Sinha, the spokesperson of the BJP, Arshpreet Singh Khadial of the Congress Party, Mr. Ashok Sajjanhar, who's a former diplomat. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Arshpreet, let's begin with you. In this about 20 to 25-page long, statement, a joint statement from United States and India, there are multiple issues and achievements that the two countries have achieved that have been highlighted. In fact, there is a very strong assertion that Pakistan must act on its soil, the terror that it foils on its soil. There are various things that the BJP highlights, that the government highlights, that has been the victory of the government as far as this visit is concerned. Why is the opposition nitpicking? And that's the key question that the BJP is asking.
Thank you for the question. First and foremost, I'd request the Bharatiya Janata Party to give up their double standards. If they can do a press conference on foreign soil, why not do any press conference in India for the last 9 long years? Number two, saying that Sabka Saath and Sabka Vikas is what our democracy is all about, and then having negligible representation in the cabinet for Muslims, I think speaks volumes about how the Bharatiya Janata Party lies, and that too blatantly. Number three, you see the Bharatiya Janata Party, when it says Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, I think it refers to all the IT, ED, CBI, SEBI cases that they have been registering against the opposition parties and against many media outlets. Given that the Bharatiya Janata Party, I think credit goes to the Bharatiya Janata Party, their political vendetta and, doing away of the democracy has led to all the opposition parties uniting against them and the entire country uniting against them. I just don't understand one thing. Why does the Bharatiya Janata Party, have to have this pretense Why does the Bharatiya Janata Party not follow what it preaches, practice what it preaches abroad on foreign soil? There, certain things are being claimed, but if you go by the stats, if you go by what's been happening in India, talk of women empowerment, talk of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao.
No, that's way no. But these are no. Arshpreet, I respect the argument that you're making, but these are very vague assertions. There is a particular issue of minority rights which has been repeatedly raised, and on that particular issue, you have spoken of the representation in the cabinet of the issue of minority. But that doesn't really translate into minorities being in some kind of danger here in India. You tell me one step, and I ask this to you as a student of law, and you know law very well. What are the steps that the government has taken that has statutorily or constitutionally threatened the status of minorities in this country?
I'll tell you that.
Yes.
First and foremost, NSA, UAPA, sedition. Please pick up all these cases that have been registered and tell me against which community maximum cases have been registered. You will know what the answer to that is. Number two, saying that we are very democratic and then being very dictatorial about it, I think is what the Bharatiya Janata Party is all about. You see, we wanted the Bharatiya Janata Party to do away with the sedition law because, it basically says if you show any disaffection towards the government, you will be prosecuted. Why should it not be the state? Why should it be the government? India is not the government.
I have limited time on the show, and that's why I'm interjecting you.
India.
Tuhin, you want to respond on these points. There are various points which have been raised, especially pertaining to minority rights. And during the visit of the Prime Minister, that was the question that was asked. Your thoughts, Tuhin?
Well, good evening, Anusha. I think, the country has gone beyond Congress nitpicking and nobody takes them seriously. They tried their best to sabotage Prime Minister's visit. Rahul Gandhi specifically spent 10 days in US trying to convince them that democracy is in danger. But 2 days of the Prime Minister's visit has completely, completely decimated that argument. The fact is, India is the world's oldest democracy. In fact, if Congress had a better connect with Ramayan, they would understand that the earliest concept of Ram Rajya comes from Ramayan, which is many thousand years old. So democracy can never be in danger in India. They talk about representation in cabinet, but look at the kind of MPs they promoted, the opposition per se promoted when in the name of Muslim MPs. Atiq Ahmed, a dreaded criminal, Muhammad Taslimuddin from the Congress party, from Kishanganj. I can name many others. But, it is not merely about representation. We have Ghulam Azad from Jammu, from one of the backward-post communities in the Rajya Sabha. So that representation certainly does not matter so much as long as they enjoy all the basic rights which are available to the other communities. And in terms of deliverance, when it comes to government schemes, you go by data in all of the government schemes.
So in the schemes, that's what the Prime Minister also said, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and in our government schemes, no government does a favor by including all the minorities. It is their constitutional duty and it's the right of every citizen. Arshpreet, the opposition, including the Congress party, has all the right to raise issues pertaining to minority rights and various other issues. But the manner in which the discourse is panning out in social media and public domain, it looks like that we are trying to pull down our own image, the image of our own Prime Minister, while he is on a state visit to the United States of America. I don't see that happening in any other democracy of the world.
Exactly. I did not see that happening in any other democracy of the world when the Bharatiya Janata Party's leaders went to foreign soil and said that people used to feel ashamed for being born an Indian back in the day when they were not in power, back in the day when our prime ministers, when our other leaders were visiting abroad. This is what the Bharatiya Janata Party has been doing. The BJP is accustomed to blowing hot and cold at the same time, which they need to give up. They need to give up their double standards. Number two, when it comes to minorities, you take an example of NRC, CAA. Due to the NRC, so many people have been left out of the loop. And despite their, going door to door, they have not been helped. Talk of the demeanor of the government, of the police, of the agencies towards minorities when it comes to, taking the law into their hands. They have been demolishing their houses. They have been demolishing their places of work. And the Bharatiya Janata Party says, it's fine because the Bharatiya Janata Party is in power. They can do anything and everything that they feel like. Let me tell the Bharatiya Janata Party one thing. If you mean democracy, start practicing it. Just saying it does not help.
Arshpreet, before I have limited time, I also want to bring in Mr. Ashok Sajjanhar into the discussion. But I want a quick point from you, Arshpreet. Is it also democratic to make fun of somebody's English or the manner in which they use their language Is that also part of democracy, and is that also part of political etiquette?
Is it good to call somebody Saddam? Is it good to call somebody Diane? Is it good to address the former Prime Minister as
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's wrong. Whoever has done it is wrong.
That's wrong, right?
Yes, it is.
That's wrong, right?
And whoever is doing it is wrong right now. And whoever is doing it is wrong right now. Mr. Ashok Sajjanhar. Mr. Ashok Sajjanhar, I want you to come into the discussion. As I went through the joint statement from the recent meet that has happened from United States and India, there are commendable strides that have been made as far as cooperation is concerned in technology, in space, various investments, exchange of information, and the close cooperation that the two countries are viewing together. In para 35 of this joint statement, that also is a stern warning to Pakistan, also talking about the Mumbai terror attacks that have happened. This is an assertion of growing clout of India. The politics that you already heard, how much of that is warranted at this point in time? Mr. Sajjanhar.
Yeah, I think the politics is not warranted at all because, the opposition parties might say that they are saying this not against the state. They are not saying it against, but they are mentioning about the party. But that does not really, in my view, hold water because, when they are talking about that the position is so dire, the position is so bad in India, what does it mean? That, foreign investors, because what are we looking for when we go out? We are looking for foreign investment. We are looking for technology. We are looking for cooperation. We are looking for collaboration. And those people, those who are in a position to invest in your country, they are going to say that, there is a problem and, the opposition is also aligning itself with some of these ideologues in the other countries, which they say that, there is a danger of a genocide, etc. While, there are even these Pew reports that have come out, which speak about the fact that 98% of the Muslims in India say that there is no discrimination against them.
Mr. Sajjanhar, my limited point is this, that I believe opposition parties have a right to raise issues about minority rights. Every institution has a right to talk. I'm only talking about the manner in which this discourse is being framed. The framing of a discourse is very important more than the issues themselves. Have you seen this happen in any other part of the world, in any other part of, diplomacy or politics, that the leader of the country is pulled down during a state visit, or is that something which is acceptable in democratic cultures? I wanted an objective analysis from you.
No, it's not acceptable at all. I think, in my view, it is basically the opposition is trying to stretch, to hold on to non-existent straws. That nothing exists, but they are trying to sort of, find out some reason or the other. I think the visit has been is a huge success. It's been a game changer. It's been, taken the relationship forward in a very, very significant way. And all that is happening is going to be to the benefit of India. And I think the whole country needs to celebrate in that rather than sort of, as you put it, nitpicking and, trying to show.
Well, I'm short of time. I'm short of time today, but you're right. And the domestic issues, of course, are part of our domestic politics. No intervention of any third country is needed. And the opposition has all the right to raise these issues in the domestic politics of the country. The timing of it, as I said, is clearly questionable. Talking about the joint statement that has been issued and what has been substantially achieved, most experts would argue that the visit has been a success. I thank all my guests for joining us on the broadcast, Arshpreet Khadial and Mr. Ashok Sajjanhar and also Tuhin. Sinha. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the show tonight. We'll continue tracking this and much more. It's a wrap on Viewpoint tonight. Plain Speak follows.